and visual podcast, a weekly discussion about all things guitar building and some random tangents as well, featuring members of the Guitar Builders Collective from all around the world. The Guitar Builders Collective is a like-minded group of individuals that have come together to share their experiences, knowledge and inspiration for guitar building. Each week you can join us in the live YouTube chat or catch up at a later point. It's also available as audio where you'll miss out on seeing our lovely faces and some of the visuals we share along the way. You can also find the Guitar Builders Collective via our forum, over on Instagram where we share images of members' builds. We've got a thriving Facebook group, and we do hope that no matter what your experience and knowledge is, you'll become a welcome member of this community too. Great. Hello, people.
Good evening.
Morning.
Howdy all.
G'day.
Yeah, we're in different time zones as always. Look, for people that are watching, you can see our faces and see who we are. I'm going to introduce everyone for the audio in a moment. I've just realised, though, there's going to be some people, I hope there's going to be some people that are joining today that may not have watched before. So I want to just quickly briefly say what the Guitar Builders Collective is. Essentially, it's a group of people that came together a couple of years ago, maybe more than that now, because they were commenting and talking to each other on the internet, commenting on each other's threads on their videos and their social medias. And as a result of it, different groups were set up. So we've got a forum you can join. And the forum is basically a space where people like Simon, who's in the live chat at the moment and was a previous guest, he posts sort of updates of his builds. It's sort of like a documentation of his build. It's also a place where people go to ask each other questions and for help and advice and just to share things to do with guitar building. And we've got a similar thing on Facebook, and that's getting quite popular now, the Facebook group, which we'll mention again later, I'm sure. A space you can go and help each other out. But then we've got the Instagram group, which is a bit different. The Instagram tends to be somewhere where we can... Oh, I was trying to put a link up. Look at that. Not very efficient. I've lost my Instagram link. Hey, professional. I thought I was sounding professional then, guys. Almost. Yeah, so the Instagram is basically a space where we're sharing builds of other guitar builders from the collective. So if you're following that, it's basically a feed of great guitar builds and things like that. And then there's obviously this stream that we do once a week, live on YouTube, so you can join in with the comments, but it's also going out on audio afterwards. So anywhere you get your normal podcast, you should be able to find us. But it's quite new on that. So if you're looking for it somewhere and you can't find it, please message me via YouTube or my Instagram, because I want to make sure it's getting out to as many places as I can. And at the moment, I don't know if it is. It seems to be. Fantastic. So we've got Arran over here. Arran is from Adair Guitars in Australia. Arran and myself and Scott from Bonehead Guitars sort of initiated this. We're in 61 episodes in now, just as a way of getting together to chat about guitars and building. And for me, it's been a great space to make sure I'm not in my workshop all the time on my own. Arran, Arran, you're probably most well known, I would say, for your Lord of the Rings and your Doctor Who guitars.
Possibly, yeah. They're both on the wall behind me there for those who are watching.
But Aaron's also got a great YouTube channel you can follow. And then below me is Corey. Corey is the man who, for me, sort of is the face behind Guitar Builders Collective. He is the one that manages all the Instagram, does loads of sharing and stuff. Corey, is it secret yet, or can you share your new commission for your build?
I could. I haven't heard from him for a little while though. But, he said I could tell people, so Jordan Mitchell singing from Alien Ant Farm, I'm making a guitar for him.
That's really cool. Is it going to be like your other guitars with loads of laminates and lots of wood and stuff?
No. The next one piece, believe it or not. Yeah, I know. One piece neck, body's body and the top's from the same plank of wood.
And vaguely remember all Australian woods, is that right?
Yeah, body body fretboard and the top is Australian rosewood, and the neck is Tasmanian oak, I think. Yeah,
Nice.
they accidentally messed it up.
I'm always jealous of other countries because the wood species that we've got native over here are pretty boring a lot of the time. And everywhere else seems to be, oh yeah, we've got this, we've got that. And if we want to buy a piece over here, we get absolutely nailed. No pun intended.
Yeah, Corey's been sharing some images of a website where he buys his woods from, and some of the tops on there are just crazy. But the thought
I had to get that one the other day.
The thought of shipping across the world for a guitar just seems inappropriate, I think. But we are limited.
When you think we pay for a decent carved top, if you want a really nice flame carved top to make a Les Paul or something like that, you're talking what, probably between 200 and 300 quid for a carved top book match piece, just for that one piece of wood. I mean, it's crazy, really.
We've also got with us Glyn. Pickup. So we're not guitar builders, although Glyn has a background in guitar building. Glyn, how are you getting on? I've seen you teasing your new pickup setups.
Yeah, been really lots of orders, so I've been rather flat out. Oh, really? Which is great.
Excellent. I hope we hear a bit more about that later. We've got Brad and myself are going to have a chat after today because Brad's busy planning some sort of live stream event that we can all join in with. So there'll be a 24-hour live stream, we think, where people can join in. Yeah, seeing each other working in your workshops.
Blimey, that's naked and exposed, isn't it?
It should be like this. Nice and clean, I hope. But Brad, as well as making guitars, also teaches a bit of guitar building.
Yeah, do a bit of that on the side there. So it's been a slow takeoff for the year, but we had a couple of students wrap up and a couple more about to finish. So yeah, just hopefully we'll get a few more through next year.
And then just joining us below, we've got Ray from Tasmaniak Guitars, who is our kind of, I guess, resident 3D printing specialist. Is that fair?
Would be me.
Yeah.
That would be me.
Cool. So we're regulars on the podcast. We tend to be on at the end of each month with our Australian timed one. But time zones are swapping in soon because we've got our clocks are going back. America's going back at different time. In Australia, they're going forward. Glyn's in New Zealand. I assume they're going forward there as well. So our regular time slots are going to change a bit. But anyway, we've got our guest today who everyone's very excited about because in the Guitar Builders Collective, I put a call out, who should we invite on? And Paul, everyone wanted you. So here you are.
Well, I'll try not to blush too much, but yeah, that's ideal. I'm actually watching everyone else that I've been watching for a long time, in and out and doing all different bits and bobs. So it's, I feel like a bit of an imposter, to be honest.
Well, not at all, not at all. We're going to talk, look, just a bit of trail ahead. We're definitely going to talk about your background in guitar building and other things that you've been doing that maybe or may not be connected. I definitely want to talk about your YouTube stuff and the charity work you're doing as well. And I'm sure there'll be questions to come out. We've got lots of people in the live stream. There's a few people in the live stream commenting on the volumes and the noise in the background. Do let us know if there's any problems or anything out of balance. And also if you're in live chat and you've got questions, also let us know. Corey is, in fact, as we were just discussing off air, he lives right by a rainforest and it's raining at the moment. There might be a bit of noise there. That just sounds amazing to me, living somewhere like that. Hey, Paul, whereabouts are you? You're in the southeast, is that southwest?
I'm in southwest, babes. I'm in Plymouth, so it's down on the southwest coast of the UK, which is it's a lovely town. I do love it. Everywhere's struggling at the minute, but Plymouth in itself is a wonderful place to be. Really, I love it.
Hey, before we get onto guitars, I think it was 2020, something like that. 2010. There was a solar eclipse, total solar eclipse, and I went down to Plymouth to see it because I had some friends living there, and it was the cloudiest day we've ever had. And we just sat out.
Yeah, Plymouth would do that to you. It was probably on purpose.
It's a wonderful place, though.
Yeah, love it.
So, Paul, obviously you were saying to me off air that you're trying to make just guitar building your sole business at the moment, and you have been making custom guitars and selling them. But what was your background prior to the guitars then?
So basically, I've always played guitar. I've always played acoustic guitar, never electric, for years and years from a teenager. The familiar story for everyone. And then it got to, and I actually run a kitchen and carpentry business. Like I only really do the pretty stuff. I don't really build, all the first fix gear and all that sort of stuff. And I always wanted to build my own guitar, because a lot of any carpenter who plays guitar is going to want to build his own guitar, I think, or have an itch, if you know what I mean. So when I turned 40, I've been watching Crimson on, everyone watches Ben Crow, don't they? Well, they did do when he was doing basically just a Ben doing builds. I was really into that. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go and do one of his courses. So for my 40th birthday, I treated myself.
Oh, nice.
And then lockdown and COVID happened, and that kind of scuppered that bit. But it went in my favour in the end, because when I went to COVID, when I went to Crimson, it had just reopened. Ben was still terrified of COVID, and I'd never actually met him. So it was me and you had Sean from Arran Guitars the other week.
Yeah.
So basically, it was me and Sean. There was 3 students there, 3 teachers, and Sean. It was basically 1-to-1, and he taught me how to make a guitar. So it was the biggest gift I can ever have, really, and I'll never forget the experience there for the week. It was amazing, really. I probably pissed him off, did his head in, but he's because he's such a lovely, gentle guy, and I'm not. But yeah, it was amazing. I went and built a thin line Telecaster. I'll never sell it. I've got it there. I've got the 3 instructors to sign the back of the pickup cavity. Control cavity. So I've got all these stories. Everything's got to have a story in it. When you get old, you appreciate the stories that go with things. And and he taught me to make a guitar. So that was it. I was hooked. So the ball was rolling.
Sean's brilliant. He's been on before, and we're definitely going to get him back. He's excellent.
The skill set that man's got, but also accompanied with the thing that I'll never have is the level of patience that he's got. I'm a rusher. I'm a nightmare for it. But because I'll get an idea in my head and I want it built by the end of the day, when you do the business I'm in, kitchen and carpentry, you do that. You go in, you create stuff, it's in your head, and you knock it out and it looks great. But with a guitar building, you've really got to chill out a little bit. So that's the hardest skill to learn. Sean is a master at that. He's a master at guitar building. There's no doubt about it.
So this is very naive of me, but presumably you had, through the carpentry work, lots of woodworking skills or knowledge. Is any of it transferable?
Yeah, all of it, really. I mean, well, just like tool using power tools, hand tools, and I've been doing it for 25 years. So and because I like doing all the prettier stuff, you have got a decent touch and all the rest of it. And yeah, so it's definitely transferable. I could leap into guitar building, or you think you can. You think you can leap into guitar building, but then all of a sudden guitar building goes, hang on a minute, be humble, because you don't know anything. And every day is a school day. And that's what I love the most about it. It's when I got into my business of carpentry, I was really passionate. I still am, really. I get a lot of job satisfaction. So anyone that gets job satisfaction from their profession, then you've won, basically. But it does wane after 25 years. And, when Mrs. Smith's not happy with her cupboard door, all of that does, I've not got the get up and go that I used to have. But guitar building, I am all in. And I've got the passion that I had as a 20-year-old. So it's like a new lease of life. I've built this workshop. Everything's evolved. It's all gone very quick, to be honest. But I absolutely love it. I just love it.
Oh, so the workshop's all new for the guitar building?
Yeah, I built a small extension on the back of my garage, which was 4 meters by 2 meters, and which I loved. I built that about just after I got back from Crimson. Within about 3 or 4 months, I'd had that built, and then I outgrew that because you start needing some bigger tools, and obviously I'm a carpenter, so tools are foreign and I love them. So I started moving into the garage, and then I swapped into the main garage. So then I had 3 meters by, I think, 8 meters. And where I am now, I actually own 2 flats. And this was just a disgusting old double garage at the back, and with a caved-in roof and all the rest of it. And long story short, I lost my dad, and it was like a tough 9 months. And I thought at the end of that, I had to do something for me. So I was like, right, I'm going to just bite the bullet and I'm going to turn this workshop into what I want it to be, you know. So I think of Dad every time I come in here. It's like a homage to what we've done as a family. And luckily, this is a huge double garage. I mean, it's basically 10 meters by 5 meters, and it's got a downstairs, which is the same size. So it's a perfect workshop that I own, essentially. There's no mortgage on it. So it's afforded me a little bit of, I can come down. It's not costing me as much money. So when you do earn 6 pence making a YouTube video, it's you know what I mean? It's like, I can do it. I can afford to do it just about. So it's, you know, it's take the leap in, go 2 feet first, if you know what I mean.
I think the workshop space is so important for your mindset of how you're going to work as well. Like we had Daniel from Nquenda Guitars on recently, and he had a workshop that was falling apart, built a new one, and slightly modelled it on the old one internally because he worked there for so long, and it was the setup he was saying is how his flow works, how it's important for him.
He's another one I watch all of his videos, and it's a real like slow content, isn't it? It's like, it's super relaxing, but it teaches me so much because again, he's a bit like Sean. He's got patience, like the like which I'll never know. There's inlay work and all that sort of stuff. So when I watch his stuff, I love his accent for a start because it's like it's every comedic sketch in the UK is the Dutch accent. but also it's just sat there watching him. He's a master at what he does, really. So, you know, the thought of, sometimes I think, oh, you know what, that YouTuber's great. I'd love to make him a guitar and have him make me one and do a swap. But I don't think I'd do that with Daniel because I get a feeling what he does is, you know, and there's quite a few luthiers like that. I'm humble in knowing that I'm not the best luthier out there. You know, I watch other people's videos and in awe all the time. So, and he's one of them that I hold in the highest esteem, really. It's really good.
It'd be good to know in the chat. I've seen people chatting at the moment in the live stream about sizes of the spaces they work in, and most people, because they're not doing it full time for a living, have small spaces, and therefore have setups that allow them to move things around, or something comes out that's sort of folded away somehow for their setup. But it'd be good to know in the setup if people want to know more about workshops, because I feel like we need to. There's a potential to theme some of these episodes around things. And workshops are so important. I was saying to Glyn when he came on, it looked like it was in a different space, but it's just a different angle.
Yeah. Ray, you must have you must be able to work in because you're 3D printing and you're not smashing out wood and making it massive. Can you do that in a more condensed space?
You're in my workshop.
And how big is it?
It's the size of a bedroom, basically. This is my office, and this is where pretty much everything happens.
Just there's nuts in it. That one behind you, what's it called?
Which one?
Is it the Struggle or the Priestess? That one right over your shoulder there.
So you got the black one over there.
The one with all the holes.
The one with all the holes hasn't really got a name yet. It's based off of one of my other guitars, called a Tramp. I may finish it. I may not. I'm not 100% certain. The one beside it is one of the early versions of the Priestess, and is actually loaded with one of Glyn's pickups at the moment.
I'm fascinated by what you do because I've got someone who's actually a 3D instructor. He's a CAD instructor, and bless him, he tried to teach me fusion and 3D design. And my brain at 43, I've got to that point where I'm like, all of a sudden you just hit a brick wall and you can't learn new things. So, and when it comes to 3D design, I am absolutely awful. So when I see, you know, what you're doing, for me, that's like it's a bit like Glyn and pickups. I don't know anything about pickups, and I'm scared to even start learning about pickups because it's a rabbit hole I can't afford to go down a minute. So you guys that do all that sort of stuff that I don't do, that tends to be a lot of the sort of videos I watch because, you know, it's fascinating.
With
nothing.
With the CAD thing, I do simple stuff. Like I just make like jigs and stuff and bits for the machine. And I use Tinkercad, which is a free one, and it is really, really simple. I've tried the more complicated ones, and it's just like it is too much to try and learn. But Tinkercad is just it's designed for school kids.
Mate, I need a 3D design software suite that is the equivalent of designing with crayons. Because like,
Tinkercad.
Tinkercad.
Really?
Tinkercad is it. I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg, Glyn, did I hear that you're going to be trying to print one of Ray's guitars as well?
Hey, we've started.
Oh, nice.
And there's I got a couple of other bits here. Believe it or not, that's going to be a guitar. Because I've been full time in the guitar world since 1997, I think, or something like that. And I've never played a 3D printed guitar. And I've got loads of opinions and perceptions and ideas, but it's all I've made it all up, So I thought, well, I need to actually back that up with some proper evidence. So there you go. I'm going to make some videos. I've started making. Well, I've made a video already about what I think it's going to be before I started printing anything, and I've started making this, and we'll see what I think in the end.
I look forward to that. The before and after thoughts.
Yeah, and I'm glad I recorded the before thoughts before, if you see what I mean. But yeah, and I'm not going to share that with you yet, but we'll see.
Don't.
Spoiler alert! I am 100%. We're going to set up. It might have to be next year. Don't know how long it will take you. A stream where we're just talking about 3D printed guitars with people that have done it, people that are interested in it, and after Ray's future sending his off to someone special to get the review done. See how that goes as well.
I'm looking forward to all of that. And you know what the best thing is that I'm looking forward to with Glyn building one of my guitars is the line of pickups designed for 3D printed guitars that are going to come after that, right, Glyn?
Yeah. I think our minds work in those sort of ways where you can't help yourself. you get an idea and you can't hold back. You just have to do it. So no, I'd already thought of that, mate.
I love it.
I'm not complaining.
Well, one thing I like about this sort of setup, and you're right with what you say, Paul, watching the things that you don't do so much. Like I've started watching Sailor Joe's Hello Sailor Effects YouTube channel a lot because it's things I don't really understand. And I love learning about that. But there is a worry that I'm suddenly going to start buying more and more components and things and trying to do this. And it's not really a worry in that I know I'm going to enjoy doing it. It's a worry in that it's going to distract from the thing I'm meant to be doing for a job. There you go.
The world's full of extractions. It's and there's so much out there that can just grab your attention and you start going down rabbit holes. And you haven't got time for it all, have you? That's the problem.
So what made you want to do yours on so much on YouTube, Paul?
I really like being in front of the camera.
Perfect.
I love talking to the camera. I'll put it off for ages because when you work, you have to have a bench in the middle of the room with a camera. There's certain ways you have to have space to film. So if you're in a garage at home, that's very difficult, especially doing the way that I'm doing it. I model it after watching Ben Crow at a bench, just building guitars, things like the complication and the burnt telly. It was just silly little things, and I was like, I really want to have a go at all of that. And when you go there and actually see those guitars, I mean, the guy's an absolute wizard. But yeah, so I really enjoy it. I was watching videos on how to make YouTube videos. I knew I had to hit the ground running. You have to have a decent camera. You have to have decent. People expect a level of quality now on YouTube to actually get people's attention. And then the worst thing I watched was a Mr. Beast video on how to make better YouTube videos. And the stark realization is that your first 20 to 100 videos are going to be shit. So you have to make bad videos, and learn how to video edit, and then but you have to just watch it again, and next time you make a video, just do one thing better. So my first 3 or 4 series of guitar videos, hence the palette wood guitar, which cost me nothing. It was just really, they were filming exercises, just learning how to talk to the camera and go over and watch it again and cringe. Why did you say that? You have to learn how to video edit to know how to film yourself to video edit. So when I'm filming, I can picture now how that's going to look when I'm putting it together. And so there's so much to learn. It keeps getting a message on screen. El Padre, the guy, that's the guy that bought the Paisley telly.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He gave me a glowing review. I haven't blasted it all over the internet yet, but it was a wonderful review. I'll no doubt I'll get it out there sometime. Right, James, that one.
He said he rushed here to try and get here to see you. So he's a big fan.
Top fan of the channel, top fan. I mean, that was the first, the first sale for leukemia care, which is obviously the goal until April. Which if I do drop the odd swear, I'm sorry about that. Obviously,
I was about to say, Paul, there's already been some complaints that this isn't quite like you on your normal channel.
Oh, right. You're the other way then. Yeah, no, that's it. Any of those swear words I edit out. It makes me cringe when I do actually swear a lot less now, but it's I'm a month ahead on videos, so yeah, it catches up slowly. But yeah, the absolutely smashing the leukemia charity numbers. It's going to be nuts. I mean, I'm thinking probably by April next year we might be up to like $5,000, something like that. So it's all the guitars that I've got coming up, and now the Gilmore Strat is the last one that's going to be auctioned, because you don't really get a lot for them when you auction them, And every guitar build I've got booked in as a result of the channel, they're all commission builds, so there'll be much bigger amounts. I don't need to earn any money from guitar building at the minute, so it's nice. I'm just going to plow it all back in and just go knee deep for Jurgen. That's what we're doing. That's what started all this, really.
So Corey's holding up his shirt. Corey suggested, and Brad's got his as well. Corey suggested that the last stream of next month, which is the time that we tend to have this group of people together, we try to focus a bit on the Jurgs Cup. And one thing that I think would be really interesting to talk about then as well. So anyone that's watching or listening, if you can give us some advice, it would be good to think about how we can sell things for charity. Because just off before we started, I was saying to Paul, I've had a guitar that someone else painted. They did an amazing paint job on it. It's ARY custom paint jobs. Gave it to me to do a setup and then to try and sell it. And we've struggled selling it because it just seems like selling a guitar for charity, especially at an auction, people aren't that interested. If you were maybe a massive channel, it might be different. But I feel like I've noticed lots of people doing raffles now. Buy a ticket for $5. It's much more affordable for everyone. Maybe that's the way to do it. But I don't really know. Someone's got to have an idea that will help. Simon in the chat, he does stuff for charity as well. So maybe we can pool our brains to find the best way.
I think a raffle. Go on.
I was going to say the raffle was great. It's just the hard thing is different countries have so much different legislation. Like in Australia, it's very hard to kick off for a raffle. It seems a bit more lax in other countries, though.
Well, there are some websites now where you will you do your raffle through them and they take a cut, but they're set up to do all of that legal element to make sure that what they're doing is legal in certain countries. So presumably those websites will only let you sell tickets in certain places. Maybe there are restrictions on where you can sell them. But like I've noticed a guitarist I like who's maybe hit some hard times, possibly, or is just moving to a different house, or hates his guitars, is raffling off his guitars at the moment, some really cool ones. And he's got loads of fans, and that's all raising money for charity, and that's international. So that maybe is a model.
I know the ones that the site that Crimson Guitar uses for all theirs, and just through the invitational build, when I got the breakdown of costs of how much the website takes, and looking after the legal side, and it sounds really, really complex and a difficult kind of thing to navigate.
I mean, maybe we can team up with Crimson if they get back to us.
Yeah, I just assumed everyone would just Crimson's too big to get back to anyone now, mate. They're like that's the big fish. They don't want to know, do they?
Maybe. I mean, hopefully we'll get Sean on again in the. I'm hoping. I haven't asked him yet to come on again in December, because we've got a few people coming on like you, Paul, who did the course at Crimson, but they've only just done it, and it'd be great to have a discussion with them about it. So we thought maybe get Sean back on after that, because he, like you said, he's a wealth of knowledge. He's so interesting to talk to, and nice and calm and stuff.
It's weird because when I think about, there's two things that I still want to do. I still want to go and do a course at Texas Toast, because that's my favourite channel of all. Because they'll just tell you how it is. I've always wanted to go to Texas Toast. That's a long way away. So, but one day I'll go over there and do a course with them, just to learn a different way of doing everything. Because I'm sure it's the opposite of what I do. But also at Crimson, when I was there was, like I said, 3 students, 3 instructors. We had the place to ourselves. It was a ghost town, really. There wasn't even a pub open. It was nuts. So the thought of going there with 2 or 3 instructors and 14 students, that I'm not sure how different that experience would be. You know, all the extras standing around and waiting around, because I obviously fire through things of 20 years of carpentry. So if Sean gave me a job to do, I'd just go and do it, and I'd be back within 10 minutes. Whereas there's other guys that are flapping about it because they've got no experience, and that might take them an hour and a half. So I don't know how much I would have enjoyed it as much if there was more guys there. That was just one of those things that was just luck for me really at the time.
I'm going to say something stupid, and maybe Glyn and Brad, you might have some more input on this, but I went to a college, it doesn't exist anymore, called Guildhall, where I studied different types. They were short courses. They were only like a week long, 9 to 5 for a week. I studied French polishing, contemporary finishing, like air guns and stuff like that. And the college, it was an instrument making college. So upstairs, they made pianos, they made violins, and they had a guitar making. And when I did all of those polishing courses, there were lots of like short projects, lots of short activities to help you understand the process, to introduce you to everything. But when I did a guitar making course, it was, you have to make the guitar to learn. There was no sort of theory or demonstrating things and just delving in. Is that the only way to learn, do you think, to make a guitar, to do it start to finish? Or could you, for example, show someone, this is a bit of how you shape a body, but not everyone has to go and make it. You don't have to have a finished guitar at the end. You just have to learn these things so you can go and do it in your own time.
Well, I guess it depends how you look at it. I mean, if you look at it in the case of we're always learning, then sure, why not? If you're looking at it in the case of, well, can you completely build an instrument? Then you need to be capable of doing the whole lot, you know, whether it's to a high standard or a low standard or what. But I mean, you know, where I'm doing the courses, like we certainly, you know, it's from start to finish. Yeah, I mean, but for some people that might be, you know, what they want. They want to just go in and learn a body because they can get a neck off AliExpress or whatever, and learning the body work is fine for them. Or, you know, they're scared to do a neck because it seems really complicated, so they go and learn to do a neck, and then they're happy to teach themselves how to do the body work at home.
Yeah, you know what? When I used to teach guitar making and guitar repair at it was in Leeds, in a college there. And so that's only bits. The repair is not, it's the same people doing both, but the repair was a different thing. And pretty much all I've done since then is worked as a guitar repairer. And to be honest, I always find that more interesting and more challenging.
Do you know what, Glyn? I think that's what I did wrong. I think that's what I would have found more interesting. I would have liked to know about why frets are put in like this, why fretboard radiuses are like that, and why we use truss rods in this way, and here's how to do it, as opposed to learning how to sharpen my cabinet scrapers and my chisels for 5 hours, and then pick my wood and then slowly make a neck, while other people in the group who were a bit more experienced were making it quicker. It was like, it's taken me ages to learn the concepts, which I think YouTube does well.
Yeah, see, the guy that taught me, Ted Lee, he started repairing guitars in 1958, and had been doing that right till about the mid 80s when he when he whittled it right down and just did a few, would only repair for a few of his sort of more top, well-known, or pretty liked, really. And he was interesting because, yeah, he had all those sort of, yeah, he had lots of insight into stuff, and he had lots of old bits, like lots of old Gibson necks that had been sawn down, so you can see the truss rods. And interesting what Paul was saying earlier on, what you were saying about doing things quickly. I always have Ted. I mean, he passed away a couple of years ago, but I always have him looking over my shoulder, saying, whenever I'm going to do a shortcut on something, I hear this little Mancunian accent going, "Evans, you haven't got time to do a quick job."
Yeah,
I like that. That's good. Yeah.
So, Paul, there was a question from El Padre in the chat. What course did you actually do at Crimson? Although I think possibly if you did it then, the courses might be different now.
I think they're pretty similar. They do a 5-day course and a 6-day full-day course. And on the 6th day, you get to do some extra bits. So because it was quiet and because I knew how to use tools, I basically did what you would do in a 6-day course on the 5-day. So they let me do a thin line telly and a few other extra bits, and if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's if you haven't got a clue what you're doing, then do the 6-day or even better the 2-week course if you can afford to take the time off and spend the money on the course. If you're only ever going to build one, whatever your scenario is, it's an amazing place. It's incredible what they do, what they teach you, the time they give you, the quality of the gear. Bear in mind that when you pay for a course at Crimson, it does not include the wood you're going to make the guitar out of or the hardware. And the woods they have there are incredible and bloody expensive for good reason, because it is in the UK, so they don't overcharge or anything. But by the time I did the course, I mean, back then, I think I paid 1,100 quid for the course. It's way more than that now. I paid another 400 quid for the wood, and then I bought some of their custom humbuckers, which are lovely, Glyn. If you're wondering what the Crimson humbuckers are, they're really nice. They were 170 quid. Which that's going to lead on to my next question for you, Glyn, if you don't mind. So it's way more expensive than you think to go there, but what a fantastic gift to give yourself. And if you only want to make one guitar, or you want to go on to make them as a career, I can't think of a better place to start, really. It's a sensational place. It's lovely. It's even lovely where it is in the world, you know.
I know Ray, who we'll have back on soon, who just did the course. He lives in, I can't remember where he lives. I want to say Switzerland. It's somewhere like that. But anyway, he shipped over a guitar case with him, with all the components in that he bought in advance. And one of his favourite tools that he really wanted to use there as well to do the course. And it got lost in transit. So he was just really worried that he's going to get to the course and all these parts, Sweden, he lives in Sweden, all the parts he bought ready to use weren't going to be there. So I really felt for him, but they turned up like, I think 2 or 3 days in. So he was able to do, start the neck, I think he did beforehand. But yeah, that is interesting, the idea of the cost, because like if I was making a guitar, if I had someone come in, a student, to try and learn with me, I don't think I'd start off with all the best woods and stuff. I think I would, but I've never taught before. I'd start with some cheaper stuff to get used to how the machines work, how the tools work, so you're not too precious about mistakes, and then go on to the expensive wood for your second build, maybe. But I think they've got the knowledge, maybe, and the patience.
Yeah,
to teach you.
If you go there with no woodworking skills, it must be terrifying. Every cut, every shave of a chisel, every drill. It must be terrifying. So yeah, I don't know how they teach people so well. Really, that's a skill that I haven't got. So it's I'd love to have people in my workshop if I could even bother to find out about insurances. I'd have someone come and lose a finger or something. I don't know how it would work. But, I'd love to pass that knowledge on, especially to my sons. I think one of them's watching rather than doing schoolwork. So yeah, he'll build a guitar. Hopefully, he's going to take over the carpentry business. So one day, no doubt, he'll build a guitar under my tutelage. And we probably won't speak for 2 years after attempting to do it, but we'll try and get it done. Definitely.
Teaching people to use a router for the first time is pretty scary, I tell you.
Yeah. Router tables, table saws, everything.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a big.
I used to introduce them to routers by saying, nobody ever had a minor accident with a router. and it carry on. Not true, but it focuses their mind, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, don't start them on the massive, great profiling bits that you're running through the router table. Just get them nice and slow.
Yeah.
You see them get in there, they're white knuckle gripped on the router, shaking like a leaf.
Yeah, white knuckles. Yeah, it must be terrifying if you don't know what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. Good luck. I mean, you teach people, so you know what it's all about.
I've just made a note. I want to, when Sean's on, maybe we can make sure Sean's on with Brad and Glyn, and we can have a bit more, and Arran, in fact, we have a bit more discussion about what it's like to be teaching. Because a lot of us as well do the YouTube thing. And for me, I was saying to Paul off screen, my videos aren't like his, where he has a narrative and a story, and you're there for his personality, and you're watching each week and seeing something built. I tend to do a very particular thing that someone will come to that video if they need a question answered, like how to install the EMG solderless pickups, or so people aren't coming to see me and have a story. And some people that for example subscribe may not be interested in certain videos because they're very technical about certain things, so I'd call them evergreen stuff. But that kind of teaching online, that even when you're doing the narrative thing that Paul's doing, you're still teaching. People are watching you and they're learning, and there's so many approaches to teaching, and it would just be great to hear the background of so many different people and how they approach it and how they do it, and maybe why they're doing that. Like Paul, you said you wanted to do the YouTube to be in front of the camera, but why are you doing your videos like they are, that kind of stages of building a particular guitar?
Well, I've had to learn how to, if you like the Revstar build went on too long, so the viewing figures drop off. So people want, I think, 5 video. I can't get a guitar build into 4 videos. I'd love to do one a month, 4 weeks of the month, that build, and every month move on. I can't condense it down that much because you wouldn't be seeing much. You can't get enough personality into the videos without, because basically the guy that's on camera, this is me in the pub, which is very rare these days actually, but it's just me with my mates having a laugh. That's the kind of guy I am. Nothing's too serious. I think the reason that the channel's getting a bit of traction is because the guitar building space is actually quite serious. A lot of the stuff that you watch online, there is a lot to learn, and quite rightly it is serious because it is a serious game. There's a lot of pride in what people are doing. The guys are master craftsmen, so it's difficult to. But I want people to see that you don't have to be dead serious. You can have a laugh. And I really, the aim of the channel is to be an entertainment channel as much as a how-to, if you know what I mean. Yeah,
100%. I think your videos do that. Like I watched your video the other day about fret slotting.
They are
really interesting. Definitely things I'm taking away from it, like deciding, because I need to buy a new fret slotting saw, and I'm trying to decide, do I bother doing that or not? Because Daniel from Inquenda Guitars has a similar thing to you. He uses a fret cutting circular saw, but it's built into a table saw as opposed to your. Yeah. But really interesting ways of doing it, but it's quite different to that kind of entertainment that's also in your other videos. I mean, they both had it in, but it reminds me of, I remember someone talking about Top Gear. So loads of people watched Top Gear who weren't interested in cars. They were interested in the personalities of the people presenting it and the way they did it. And it feels like that. And in fact, Dormant just said in the chat that he's not ever going to build a guitar, but he's watching it for the entertainment of watching the process.
I actually did a poll on YouTube a few months ago, and I said, look, how many of you guys build guitars? How many want to build a guitar? And how many never really want to build a guitar and all the rest of it? And it was a third each.
All right, interesting.
Like 33% across the board. So a third of my viewers are never going to build a guitar. And it's it's just one of those things, isn't it, really? It's, they're just watching it for entertainment. Procrastinating.
Yeah. I'll just say in the video description, and if you're on a podcast, in the podcast description, there's links to everyone's YouTube channels, Instagrams, etc. I've just seen Corey's put something in the chat. And Corey, for me, your videos are often about being in awe of the things you're making. Like just the way you're making it, and you're pulling a face like I'm talking rubbish. But for people that don't know, Corey often makes particularly necks that are really like complicated laminate pieces, and it's a bit like hypnotic. I guess it's like ASMR porn, watching the pieces put together, and then as you're carving and shaping the neck, forms and patterns appearing. It's brilliant. Or he's just going to nod. Oh, he said he's on mute because of the noise of the rain.
I remember with Corey's all the guitars necks with so many pieces that in like text messaging and chats he was trying to describe how he was building them and putting them together, and it wasn't until I saw them on YouTube that it made sense what he was trying to do. So I think I think we learn a lot from everyone's videos, and I know even I kind of look at the parts of videos where someone might be just doing a process that's a little bit different, and then I'll try that the next time and see if I like it, or a new idea or a new technique that's more efficient. That's what I kind of think about when I watch.
I'm always on the lookout for something that'll give me more consistency.
Yep.
That's the biggest thing. I've got guitars at home that I've built, and obviously I've got the smallest ego out of anyone you'll ever meet when it comes to guitar building. Like I say, I'm in awe of everyone else, but I have built guitars. I've owned £4,000 Fenders, and I've got a Jazzmaster at home that is just as good, that I built myself with my hands. It's amazing. I'll never sell it. It's incredible. But to get every guitar that you ever build that quality, that's a whole other thing to try and attain. So that's why I'm like coming up with neck building jigs and ways of fretting and ways that I can just do it like a robot. Because you almost get, when you get to certain stages of guitar building, when you've made perfect guitars and you've also made guitars that you're not happy with, and everyone's done that. You might not film them and put them out there, but we've all done stuff and we go, I would have done that differently, and all the rest of it. So for me, attaining that constant quality is a goal that I'm always after, and I get that from watching other people's videos, because I'm trying to nick. Oh, that's a great way of doing that. Oh, wow, that's if I do that, that's repeatable. Why don't I try that and all the rest? And it just takes you down different paths.
I think with me too, with a lot of the jigs and things, that the space I'm in the garage is probably about 3 by 4 meters. So when the jigs that I build, I'm sort of conscious of them not being too big. So I'll often watch, 3 or 4 or 5 different videos of people building a jig, and then it's right. How can I minimize that and make it smaller so it doesn't take up as much room? So one of the ones I'm watching at the moment is the neck profiling jigs. So carving the back of the neck, and I've watched a range of those just to work out which features of all of them that I like, and then having in mind, all right, how can I make that a size that's not going to be too big for storage in the space.
Do you know what I'm coming more and more around to? And it's partly because of like people like Ray and Mark Gutierrez, who's one of the other regular hosts, who Mark's very keen on what elements of our process can we eliminate to make it more efficient. Like, are there bits that we just do because we've been told we have to do it, that we don't have to do, or that we can do in a different way? And I've been thinking about, I need, like I said, I need a new fret cutting saw. Maybe I need a better jig. The one I made is not very good. I made it myself. It does the job, but it's not great. I was thinking about neck profiling, and I was watching videos on the different jigs and stuff. And the more I think about it, I just think, Ray, what I need is a CNC. With a CNC, I can slot my fretboards, cut my necks, and then hand finish it. Maybe that's what I want to do. And buying all the new blades for my saws and various other things for the jigs, I'm making the neck profiling thing's going to involve some new parts I need to buy. Maybe I just invest in CNC.
Mate, I did that. I've got a CNC downstairs, which I bought with the aim of making guitars, or parts of, and all the rest of it, especially necks, because cutting out necks and profiling the backs. And learning to do that on a CNC machine is harder for me than just doing it. So, and I'm good friends with a 3D design instructor. He taught at university. He was the lead designer for Manson's guitars. So he comes to the workshop and he tries teaching me how to do it, how to design a neck. And one of the first things you learn is that to design a guitar with 3D software is almost the pinnacle of 3D design. It's one of the hardest stages to get to because of all the curves and it's just not easy. So anyone that can do it, hat off to you, because there's a lot of skill involved in that.
It's a very difficult process. However, this is one of the things that I bang on about a lot, is that, like, okay, Daniel, you've been talking for a while now about making a series of guitars, and having them, basically ready to go. The thing is that I design a guitar once, and that's it. I spit it out of the printer, and it just keeps going. You can do the same with the CNC. You just, once you've done it, it's ready to go. And on top of that, at any point in time, you can come back to the machine, load in a piece of wood or load in a spool of filament, and just hit go. And that's it. It's done. It's you just walk away, and when you come back, it's ready to rock and roll. So where you build on from that is that, for instance, the first guitar that I ever designed in CAD, I think I had probably maybe 25, 30 hours of design work in there. And when I come back, if I go back and look at that file now, I can see, like down the side where I've got my timeline and my history of everything that I've done. It's an absolute nightmare to look at. And there's so many red X's on there of parts that have failed that it looks like a Christmas tree kind of thing. However, once you sort of get the pattern down and what you're doing, and you get the workflow going, things happen and things move along much, much quicker. So the reality is they take 25, 30 hours, but on the same hand, the Strat that Glyn is building at the moment, I spent maybe 45 minutes, an hour tops, to get that from a blank screen to a 3D guitar. Because at the end of the day, just like you guys, with your router templates, I'm using templates. They're just on the screen. I draw a body, and then I decide what hardware do I want to use. Do I want to use, humbuckers? What bridge am I going to use? And I've got it all laid out, and I've got them, multiple ones laid out in different scale lengths, different neck widths, all of that. So I just draw a body, and then I come along and I drop over the hardware template, and I take it from there. Where I spend the majority of my time is how I try and make that guitar look unique. So with the Mistress, look at go. How do I want to make it stand out and not look like just another flat body guitar?
Yeah.
So that's like the Fender Noir sort of colours in it, black and red. Love it. That's a really good one.
It is good.
Yeah.
So look, Eddie's just put in the chat, CNC would rob me of the tactile elements I love. And with what you're just saying, Ray, the problem I have with guitar building is I quite enjoy all of it.
Yeah.
Right? Or really enjoy all of it, maybe I should say there. But with the guitars I want to make and sell, I need to really focus on, as Mark would say if he's here, being productive and focusing on the important things to get my workflow moving quicker. And with the guitars that I want to make, there's the hand finishing and sculpting into the bodies, which is my background in art. That's what I really want to do to make my guitars different and unique. So I need to spend time doing that. And the necks, which I do enjoy making, they could be CNC'd while I'm doing that. And that would help me, I think, run things more efficiently, because I need to be more efficient for business, run things more efficiently and still do the things that make my guitar unique and still have that tactile fun that I like. And I can see for you, Ray, that a lot of the fun and enjoyment comes from the designing element and the using the interface and things. So it's a matter, I think, of balance, and I'm only just realizing that my balance is all wrong at the moment.
So one of the things that like it was just mentioned, that you need the tactile feel of what you're doing, and that's why you're probably not so keen on CNC. The fact of the matter is that when you carve something out of a CNC machine, the part that you take off, if you get the CNC machine to make you a neck, you don't have a neck that is ready to go. It's not done. It's filled with ridges where the machine has stepped up and stepped up and stepped up. So you still need to finish that. You still need to sit there for several hours or however long it takes with the sandpaper, whatever you're doing to get that final finish before that thing is done. What the CNC machine has done it has taken away the meat. That it's taken your rectangular, long piece of wood and it's done the hard work for you. It's got you to rough shape. And it just happens to be a very accurate rough shape. But you can't bolt that piece of wood onto a guitar and call it a day. You still got many hours of work ahead of you.
Mm. Mm. And this process is like you mentioned in fret slots. Cutting fret slots by hand, it doesn't matter how good you are not as good as a table saw is going to be, or a CNC. And then putting those frets in is so much easier when the size of the frets are exactly parallel and they're not coming out at the ends. Yeah. I've got a laser cutter and I've got a 3D printer which I use for various things. And what's really nice is I'll sometimes have them both running while I'm making pickups. And it's like having two people working for me, but nobody argues, and I get to choose the music. It's great.
Yeah, that's it.
Great.
Glyn, can I ask you a pickup question?
Yeah, sure. Hey, I can see you. I can't see you. Oh, no.
I'm going to get this. Don't worry.
Shelves, then.
For people watching, I'm trying to jig it round so we can see everyone.
Lovely. Right, serious pickup question there, right, for the masses, because everyone to dispel a bit of myth. I really like a pickup brand from the UK called Warman Pickups. They're a really low cost option, and they make fabulous. I particularly like their humbuckers and the mini hum. They just make great gear. So for a set of humbuckers from them, 40 quid, right? Cheaper than Wilkinson, right? And I've never had an issue. And yet down the road from me, I've got bare knuckle pickups in Falmouth, who are 340 quid for two humbuckers, sometimes more. What's the difference?
You know what? I actually have to have them in my hand to tell you exactly what the difference is.
I can tell you quickly.
Can there be a difference big enough material-wise to warrant, or is it just brand?
Before Glyn gets into the technical, I mentioned this before. I buy Warman as well quite regularly. He sends them out wrapped in bubble wrap in a jiffy bag. So one of the things he's doing is 100%. It's about the marketing. He's going for low cost, efficient, sending it out. So he must be cutting a lot of corners and costs with that. He doesn't do all of the branding and the internet stuff that Bare Knuckle does. I don't think I've ever seen him at shows or anything like that. There's lots of business costs that he must be cutting down. But then, sorry to interrupt, there must be some technical elements as well.
Yeah, I don't know those cheap ones. I know Bare Knuckle. I used to deal with Bare Knuckle quite a lot in New Zealand. They are really, really well made. But like with anything, you've got three elements to make anything good. So there's the design, there's the methods of construction, and the materials. Which is the same in guitar making, or probably making cars or anything. I would say the design of Bare Knuckle are faultless, really. Might not like all the pickups, but they all do their job really, really well. Their components are damn good too, and I know they make a lot of that stuff in house.
Right.
And yes, branding's I've got to be a big part of it, and Bare Knuckle have put themselves right at the top, and they're consistently very good.
They're marketing masters, ultimately.
They are. Yeah, no, they're good. But they got in really early, like the early boutique I don't, and they've got some great name players on board as well. And I was really chuffed for them when they got doing the Johnny Marr thing in the fenders as well. I thought that was great.
If you were to make a cheap pickup with the cheapest wire, the cheapest magnets, back plates, covers, and then you compare that with if you were going to make the most expensive pickup, just you personally, not to sell, just like I'm going to buy expensive gear and cheap gear, what would the cost difference be between those two items for you to produce?
For one pickup, probably not a great deal. There isn't a lot of material costs within a pickup, unless you're making a very, very small quantity of them. Like if I actually wanted base plates, like humbucker base plates stamped out for me, then I've looked into it, and it's like a stupid amount of money to get it all set up. So you buy them in,
Yeah.
I get my magnets directly from a factory as well that make the magnets. Factory in China. All magnets are made in China. Simple as that.
Yeah.
No matter. Yeah. To bare knuckle, get their magnets from China. Everybody does. So really, there's not a huge difference. Stuff like covers, yes, there's a difference. Oh yeah, you can get cheaper base, but actually, yeah, brass base plates are way cheaper than nickel silver. But you're talking teeny differences in sound.
Yeah.
But they are there.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
I kind of wonder with you said you got a CNC. Why you don't make your own hardware? I mean, the bridges, aluminium's a great resonant material.
It's a woodworking CNC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's an ooze nest workpiece. So it'll do 1.5 by 1.5. It's a big one, but ultimately it's holding a wood spindle router, Mafel router. So it'll only do the woodwork. Yeah, maybe some brass, but yeah, it's not really for that. Yeah. Oh,
and again. And again, buying the stuff in is like, I mean, how much stuff do you want to make? It's kind of like, yeah. Like I laser cut some of my flat work. The top and bottom plates on fender types, only when it's stuff that only on the more unusual pickups. But the bog standard ones, it's much better me just buying them in.
Yeah.
Where they've been mass produced and they're cheap enough. And it's not so much they're cheaper that way. It's just that I don't have to make them. Because it's not a fun part of the job, cutting things out.
No.
Glyn, have you tried the 3D printing of bobbins, or is it going to be too coarse for the wire to snag on? I have seen some people try that with too coarse.
Too coarse, yeah.
And then you'd have to sand it flat, and then you're just wasting your time doing that.
And then you're just mucking about. No, injection molding as well, and I have kind of looked into having a small injection molder here, and then trying and use recycled plastics. And I did start making an injection molder, but I never got to the end of that. Yeah, because that would be, it's the printer just isn't, just won't do it. It's great for bits of the machine.
I mean, 100% FDM or your standard 3D printing. Definitely not. He's not going to be that great for making pickup covers or even the bobbins and things like that. However, resin printing has a very, very fine resolution, and I've actually done. I've made some myself because I had this grand idea that I was going to start winding my own pickups. They're not going to happen, but I got the bobbins. The other one I looked into was a method called SLS, where everything is made from a nylon powder, and that using either one of those two, like either the resin or the powder, you can get exactly what you want. If you wanted to make any sort of crazy shape to bobbin or anything like that, good to go. And because I was actually going to talk to you about that at one point, Glyn, going, this is what the potentials could be if you wanted to do anything crazy.
Yeah, as soon as you start changing the geometry of the coil, it's really quite a different world. So like a wide flat coil, like a P90 is a really different beast from like a Strat coil. Just the shape of it makes a huge difference. So yes, you can do it. You can do all that. It's just you end up with a lot of experimenting to get what you want out of it. I do a few things that are different on quite a few pickups, but that coil symmetry and also the not symmetry, geometry, and also the geometry of the magnetic field makes a huge difference. You know how the shape of it you can manipulate that with various components. It's good fun actually. I quite enjoy all that mucking about with magnetic fields. But
I've seen you post some pictures, I think, where you've used some bit of material to show the magnetic fields off of some of your pickups. That's
it's cool, isn't it?
Yeah. I tried to do something like that with iron filings on a bit of paper over pickups. Didn't work.
Well, I've got loads of iron because I've got 50 kilometers of beach just over there, and it's black sand, and it's not actually black sand. When you look at it carefully, it's sand and it's iron filings, which is black, which is from a volcano down the road, 100 k's down the road there, and so you can separate it off with a magnet, and you can get it's really cool actually.
Oh,
so you can just take a magnet down the beach and you come back with bucket loads.
Hey, look, we've got about 20 minutes left, and I want to ask Paul some questions. We've got some questions in the chat, but I noticed Simon mentioned that with Warman, Simon thinks he has it made in the Far East and then shipped in. So that's another thing. I know some people have their, like you said, buy their bobbins and stuff in stock in bulk from the Far East and do it, but I guess we never know as well why someone wants to actively sell everything cheaper, because I think he could sell them for more, but it's a business model that works for him clearly because he's been doing it for a long time.
He'd be an interesting guest on your podcast.
Yeah, no, he's on my. Every now and then you might see me do this. That's me writing my list of who to invite on.
Yeah, that's it.
Hey, so Paul, in a minute I'll share on the screen your Instagram while we're chatting as well. But there was a question that came in, and maybe Corey can tell us because I'm not sure who it was from, but it was on the guitar. It was on either the Facebook or the Instagram the other day, just saying to you, Paul, that builders who attend Crimson courses tend to have a Crimson style in their early builds before they establish their own direction. I don't know if that's true. Maybe it's true. I haven't really studied it enough. But how do you consciously make your designs your own?
So one of the early things that really got me interested is I like traditional guitar shapes, especially Fender shapes. I'm a telly, a jazzy, and a little bit less a Strat man, but I love Fender Net. Just a guitar I prefer. Everyone's got their own preference, which is handy because they're the easiest ones to build as well. It's a good start. I don't know if Crimson influence. So I never really go far away from the mold when it comes to guitar shapes, body shapes, and all that sort of stuff. I've tried a few times, never really been that happy. Crimson didn't really influence what I made because I was only making Leo Fender's designs ultimately. So it might influence other people. Ben makes some pretty wacky stuff, doesn't he? So it's that might be what happens with some people. The biggest influence for me was the Texas Toast fabric guitar series, hence the fact that I do all the stuff under epoxy.
Ah, that's interesting. I haven't tried that yet. And then we've got from Electric Lady Guitars, is there any element of your contract work or woodworking that guitar building has helped improve?
No, it's just made me want to do it less. So yeah, I'm not so keen on fitting kitchens anymore.
I'm just trying to find an image. You mentioned off air, and I think it was Simon mentioned in the chat, the live chat, about your Revstar guitar.
Yeah.
When you were talking about how many episodes you had for your video, is there? Are you able to share your news about what might be happening with it?
Yeah. So this was weird, and I've still got a big grin on my face. So yesterday I was downstairs on the CNC machine cutting out some mundane crap, and my watch pinged up, and Chris Buck had commented on the video. I did actually send him a link, cheeky message years ago, but he didn't. He's a busy guy. So he commented, and a fan, whoever that is, thank you very much, because that's much appreciated, had sent him a link, and so he'd watched the video and he loved it. And I got back up in the workshop, and the bugger rung me. So literally stood here having a conversation with Chris Buck on the phone, like one of my guitar heroes. And I was laughing. I said, I'm a 43-year-old hairy-ass carpenter, and I'm blushing in my workshop because I've got this guy giving me a call. So naturally, he is. I'm going to send the guitar to him, which is sod's law. That is a guitar that I was least happy with how it came out. I'm sending the guitar to him, and he's going to film a review and do a little video for YouTube and link the auction and all the rest of it and send it back. And I'm going to get him to sign the inside of the control cavity cover and all that sort of stuff. So put a little bit of homage to it, and then we'll auction that guitar off. So that's probably the biggest news I've had since I started this YouTube journey, to be honest. It's considering it's supposed to be Chris Buck's Goode Resale, I don't look anything like it. I couldn't spray gold nitro. It was an absolute nightmare.
Were you finding that like the pigments were congealing, so you had patches?
Yeah, it was crap. Yeah, it was awful.
Quite hard.
It was an interesting experience. There's my dad there having his eyes tested. Bless him. God rest his soul. That's so that's really using what Dad left me is what made me be able to create this workshop a bit earlier than I maybe would have. So always be
amazing. What an amazing legacy.
Yeah, it is. I use Instagram less for guitar building now, and I use it to share behind the scenes stuff, if you know what I mean. So if people are interested, they can follow me on Instagram, and really that's if I'm going out running that day or going out with the family or whatever. That one's on Reverb at the minute. I'm decided to sell that. One of the best guitar necks I ever made. Actually made it in my old workshop, and that guitar is phenomenal. It's just very heavy.
So how did you make the top on that?
I will give me 2 seconds. I'll grab a panel.
Oh, nice. Okay, I'll stop sharing.
So I have showed it on videos. So this is how I start fabric top stuff. So, and it's a good way of people doing it because you can make it without any stress. It's just a piece of 6mm ply, glue a bit of fabric to it for your guitar top, put a border on, fill it up with epoxy. Very easy to make. You can do that. There's no mess. And if you bugger it up, you haven't buggered up your guitar, which I did do several times. So that's actually the pattern that's on my favourite Jazzy at home. I thought I'd make another one. That's going to be a giveaway, actually. I'm going to give that guitar away eventually. So, yeah, and that's how I do that. And then you literally draw around it, cut it out, and then that will glue onto your guitar body. And then, obviously, you've got to bind it. But it's a really easy way of doing it because they use a finish at Texas Toast called Simtech, which you can't get in the UK. And they basically spray that on. It's like a high build, like filler clear coat. And you can sand that flat and get like an epoxy finish. And in my garage at home, I couldn't figure out a way of doing that. Painting and spraying is not really something I know how to do. So I thought I'd do it in a way that I could figure out. So that's basically how I devised that plan. And it really is my favourite way of making guitars now.
It looks really neat. And what I like about it is the thickness of the epoxy gives it real depth as well.
Definitely.
It's really cool, not just like a thin coat.
You can get a 12mm binding. I thought I could get a good 5mm of epoxy on there and really 3D it up. And yeah, it's just a simple way of doing it, really. It's yeah, I like it that way. Simple's best.
So what finish are you putting on the rest of it then?
So I steer away from paints now. I'm doing the Gilmore Strat. After that, I'm pretty pissed off with painting guitars. To be honest, it never turns out that well. So I've not got a spray booth. I haven't got space for it yet. Really, I'd love to have decent extraction and do it properly, but again, it's a rabbit hole I'm not prepared to go down at the minute. So I like doing natural woods, just oiling them up. So I'll do like just a natural wood body. I love ash bodies and all that sort of stuff. And when you do the fabric top gear, you can semi-hollow it all out, and it's a really easy process. And then I'll just do a nice maple neck, which again I like doing with true oil. You know, I'd probably like to get into clear lacquer in necks. I've just got some of that. I'll show you. I just got this gear. I'm out of the well prepared. I just got that, which I saw on Chris using on Highline guitars, and that stuff there. I can put that in a pot. Corey's having a closer look. You having a closer look, Corey? You right there? He's fucking muted, bastard. Anyway,
No, fucking serious.
there he is. I do talk to Corey all the time. We'll have a game of golf one day, I promise. But although he's a bit better than me, so that stuff there you can put in a pot and it will never go off. You can just put it in a yogurt pot with a foam brush and it will never go off until you put it under a UV lamp. So I bought a UV lamp. Amazing, and I put it under a UV lamp for 3 minutes, rock hard, and then you can just keep building it up and keep building it up. You can get that on really thick, but I haven't done it on a neck yet because my lamp. I've built a little lamp station, but you can't get the whole neck under there. So you'd have to do a bit and then move it, and then it's like putting it through like a cooker. You know what I mean?
I know. I think that's something that maybe someone else here will know. But Scott recently tried a UV finish, and he had lots of problems with it, and ended up scraping it all off and starting again.
It's weird if you let it build up too much and you get little pits in it. It's very difficult to. When you put another layer on, you think, oh, you'll fill it and level it, but it doesn't seem to do that. So I have done it on a bit of wood, and it's not. So you have to do one or just 2 layers, and putting it on with a foam brush is quite streaky. So I found that putting a thinner layer on with a rag and getting it nice and flush, just like you would with true oil, and just because you can build up 20 layers in a couple of hours, it's worth doing that. Easy bake oven for guitars.
And that adheres well to something hard like maple, because I'm just thinking of I don't know if you worked on many 90s Fenders, because the 90s Fenders they spray them a bit thick. They didn't put a thinned coat, so it didn't soak into the wood, so that the lacquer just blisters off.
Yeah,
I mean, it starts blistering on the dot markers, and then all down the sides of the fingerboard, and they're just a total nightmare to refret because you can't tape anything off without pulling everything off with it.
Right.
I'm just wondering if that adheres. I suppose modern stuff's a lot better, isn't it?
I put it on this. So I've got a load of like burl veneer stuff. So I put a few layers on that, but you can't really see. You can see on there's some pits. There's a bit of pitting and spotting, and that's why I didn't manage to fill it in. But it is hard as nails, and you can get so much on there that you can go at that with, 240 grit sandpaper on the orbital sander. No chance of going through it. It's so hard. And then I polished that right up to. I've only went up to like 1,000 grit. I didn't actually use any polishing on it. So that's literally just sanded to that finish, and it's not bad. It's kind of idiot proof, but it's not perfect. It's not as good as spraying a clear coat on so far. But yeah,
it's a pain filling in bill, like the pits in the bill.
It might be, but it's only a veneer that's on MDF. So it's I only bought this stuff. This was in an old carpenter's workshop that I cleared out. Bless him, Ted. And I thought I'll make some signs out of it or do something interesting. But it's weird it's gone pity. I'm pretty sure it's a mistake I made actually applying it. But I'm good at that.
So once it's cured, you just wipe the next surface on and it just bonds well with what's there.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, you literally paint a load on. I've got some in a tub with a foam brush that I did that about 2 weeks ago. It's still usable in the pot. So it never goes off. It's crazy stuff, really. There's so much product and so many things to learn. And they all do a slightly different thing, a different way. And you just got to keep ploughing through and finding out what works for you, really, I suppose. But guitar is hard.
Ben from Blacktail uses like that UV finish. And he's like making sure he's all covered up so he don't get sunburnt from the UV light.
I built like a little MDF bridge with my lamp mounted underneath it, so I can put that on the desk, and then I can just slide a guitar body underneath, and it's almost like a little grill, But nothing leaks out. I don't think so anyway. Just with my hair color, mate, I'd burn to a crisp. Yeah.
Hey, you guys in Australia, do you find that a lot of the products that you see people talking about are just not available? I mean, nothing's available here, but I think you get a lot more stuff over there than we do.
Yeah, I think that's what I've sort of found. I know the mod guitar that I recently that I wanted to spray with nitro paint, which we did. That there's one supplier that has it in cans because obviously you can't get it flown over from overseas. So it's pretty much there was one supplier in the whole country that had nitro cans, and then it's going to be a bit more expensive. And same with the finishes as well, that often you'll see something that's recommended overseas or someone's used and can't be shipped to Australia. So I've found a few alternatives. It's I've been using a wipe on poly, which I can't remember the brand now, but yeah, I can just get that from Bunnings.
Right.
And Danish oil. Yeah, there's a Ruston's Danish oil. They're probably the two finishes that I've kind of used. But yeah, certainly the spray. I did a kit guitar with my son, and we sprayed a nitro gold top on that. And then I did this mod with, it was the same company, Nitro Paint. But yeah, that's sort of with spray paints that I'd like to experiment with. They're just not around, or you get on the forums and people are just saying you just go to the auto car shops and get the cheap spray cans that they use to touch up cars and things. So, which I'd like to try at one stage, but I certainly find we've got to look for some alternatives.
Yeah, well, we don't even have super glue accelerator here.
Okay.
It's a total nuisance. Yeah. But, I mean, it's the price you pay for living on an island in the South Pacific.
That's right. Yeah, I got some of I think Glue Boost have just started in Australia recently, and I've got some of the Glue Boost, brand of super glue, and they've got the accelerator, which is handy. But things like that, you see, other guitarists, little tips and things or products they're using. You think, oh, great, I'll try that next time, and you get online, look it up, or you'll find it overseas, and then shipping's like $50 Australian to buy something that's $15, and it's like, I'm not doing that.
Just for what it's worth, we were talking about the going to the auto store and like Auto Barn, Super Cheap Auto, and using their spray cans. I'm not sure about Super Cheap Auto. They might be able to do it, but Auto Barn can actually make you a custom spray can in pretty much any color that you want. I know this because I used to work there many moons ago. But yeah, they can basically mix it up with whatever you want. They can do pearls, metallics, all of that fun stuff. And even if you just see a color on a car that you like, if you can get the paint code off of that car, take it in and basically, they can take it from there. Like if you like, a particular silver on a Holden, walk in there and you want a can of H001 and bang, 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 bang. They'll make it all up. They'll mix it in front of you. Just hope that you don't have to use a second can or like come back later for another can because it's all mixed by weight. And at the end of the day, you've kind of got someone who doesn't really care mixing it up for you. So while they'll get the color pretty damn close, when you put the two side by side, one made now and one made in a few months by someone else, there's a difference.
Yep.
Yeah, that idea of getting mixed spray cans is brilliant. I've seen a few companies do that. But I still, when it's available, like a lot of it is available in the UK, I much prefer using the brands that make things specifically for guitars. I have found that they're marketing their brands to be paints that are for guitars, so they have to work well if they want to be able to sell it for that. And I have noticed a difference recently with some of the companies I've been using, that some are noticeably much better than what I'd used before. They're more expensive. I guess they've got a limited target audience compared with off-the-shelf car stuff, but it is really good. So
my favourite paint brand by far is Halford's, just like Goth Rider just put up on the screen. Halford paint is really consistent, really good. The only thing with Halford stuff is the nozzles don't fan very well. So that when you get decent paint and the nozzle's brilliant and it really sprays a lovely fan out. But Halford's is not quite so good. But because it's poly paint, it's way more forgiving anyway. So it's the only stuff I really have any luck with.
I've got a drawer in my spray booth, which is when I finish with a can, if the nozzle's still good, I take the nozzle off, because sometimes you can just swap nozzles around on cans as long as they're the right attachment, and most of them are universal. There's a few different types of attachments, so I've got, and you can also buy them separately. So like Montana spray cans sell a range of different fan spray cans for people that are doing graffiti, and some of those fit on my other cans. They work really well. But yeah, I'm a big fan. As soon as you've got a fan spray nozzle, it feels more like you're using a spray gun. It's especially the fan spray is just about the right sort of width to work on a guitar really well for like a couple of passes, and it will fill the body.
Yeah, definitely.
Paul, before we go, what you were saying that you would love to just be making guitars. That might be your future plan. If your plan is potentially to just be making guitars, are you thinking of doing something like having your own design, your own signature shapes that you're making, or is it more like custom one-offs for people?
Custom one-offs. So the model for me is, well, ever since I started the YouTube channel, I get a lot more inquiries now about custom builds. So I still do them quite cheap, but around about 1,400 quid. So there's a bit of knowledge out there for anyone who wants a custom build. So I know there's people that charge twice that, 3 times that. So I'm starting I'm at the beginning of the process. So let's keep the prices accordingly. And I've never had to make any money out of guitar building. I do it when you first start building guitars. I was fine to just sell them for what the materials had costed me, really, because I was learning. They weren't perfect a lot of the time. There's lots of processes. But as you get a bit more popular, the prices go up a little bit more. And so now people are emailing me all the time saying, are you interested in building this? And the Gilmore thing has started taking off. People want me to build famous people's guitars and recreate them, which I quite enjoy. So there's a few of them in the works at the minute. And so the idea is that I'll build those guitars and make videos. That'll be it. So if I can get 12 a year in just building custom guitars that I video, then that'll be the business plan for the minute.
We talked slightly last week with Jarvis. He was he's a guitar player, not builder, and he basically outright said that guitar builders, luthiers, bespoke people should all get together and agree to charge a lot more between them. Because you need to charge more to make it justifiable for the amount of time you're putting in and things. And there was also in the chat actually some people saying that they feel like, or they've been told by some of the people they supply, that there's definitely a fallout in that mid-range market. So if you're a beginner, you're buying your cheap guitars, that's still there. But if you're a collector or a professional, or you're serious, or you just want to treat yourself to a second guitar, the people that can do that aren't in the mid-range price anymore because of cost of living, all of that is hard. But the rich people, the people that've got their money to spend, are happy to spend $3 to $5 grand on a guitar, and maybe that's where we should be targeting our costs, our prices. I don't know.
It's so weird because the thing I realise is that my brand is only worth what someone, if someone wants one of my guitars, it's because they watch the channel or they watch my Instagram, what it used to be, and they want a guitar and they value having something unique and all the rest of it, and they want it built for them. Brilliant, happy to do that. Guitar people love flipping guitars and selling on. My brand is, if they could spend $2 grand on a Fender, they could spend $2 grand on something I build. If they buy the Fender, they can sell it. If they buy mine, it's not worth anywhere near that on the resale. And that's true for even some of the bigger brands. They just don't resell for the same value. So you have to find the customer that wants to buy your guitar for them, and the sort of guy that never sells things, which is really common actually. I don't really get attached to anything, but there's a lot of guitar players that don't sell anything, which is I could never do that. I'd have about 500 guitars. So the market is so weird, like trying to navigate it and what people want, and everyone's so different.
Who knows what the answer is?
Yeah, like one of those conundrums that there is no answer. I'm happy to build whatever someone wants me to build them, as long as it makes a really cool video series. The next one after the Gilmore guitar is I'm not building for someone, I'm building that for me. And that's probably the most monstrous, strange, weird guitar ever likely to make. I won't reveal what it is, but it's something that I thought I'd never make, but I'm going to make it because it will make an interesting video.
Oh, amazing.
I think I've seen it.
Have you?
No, I think you've seen it.
No, the back guitar has been shelved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I refused to make it. It was a shit design. So that customer, I've gone back to them and said his daughter wanted a back guitar. They'd seen a back guitar on AliExpress, And I said, don't buy that because it would be crap and it looks horrible. He said, can you build me a custom? It's someone I've known for years. I said, yeah, I'll do it for a reasonable price. And then I was trying to come up with back designs, and everything I came up with was just naff. So I went back to him and I said, let's build, she's into Gothic stuff. So it's going to be a Gothic inspired fabric top, that sort of style, but with skulls and roses and all that, all in black. And it's going to be a warlock shape with a slightly modified headstock. So there's a bit of inside information for what's coming up. But I thought that's actually quite cool. I'd like to build that. I don't want to build a novelty crap thing. So that might not go ahead if she's not into that. She's not into that, but you've got to put your foot down again.
81 Guitar Works. I'm sure I think it's Guitar Works. He made a bat one a while ago, and I noticed looking at his Instagram that his bat video's got, I think it's 5 million views. It's something bonkers.
Right,
Not like the other ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't that 34 guitars, Dennis?
34 guitars. There's too many guitar numbers in. Corey's going to fact check me here. My fact checking.
I could be like Facebook and just, have no knowledge and just.
One thing I've noticed, Corey, is that you know the inside out of every builder, what they've built, what finishes they use on it, and everything.
Well, I hold so much random useless shit that doesn't, it's not going to serve me in any way or form.
Am I right in assuming then that when the Guitar Builders Collective shares a build on Instagram, is that you, Corey?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I never knew that.
So, that was me yesterday.
Yeah, well done, mate. I never knew that. And actually, for someone that's like new to Instagram especially, when a couple of my builds got shared on your page, that was one of the first times that I really had a bit of recognition for what I was doing and like feedback. So it's actually really valuable. So when you do that, it's massively appreciated by everyone you do it for.
I've been off it for I've been sort of like in a bit of a funk lately, so I haven't been posting much. But it's all good and well when people are like, oh, thanks for doing that. Like, no, man, you're doing the work. All I'm doing is a couple of clicks here and there. But
yeah,
it's funny. I'll say that to some people, and then if some people don't thank me, I'm like, oh, fuck you. But yeah, that's
yeah, it's 34. I just looked up. You're right. 5.8 million views. Amazing.
Is that on Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder how that translated to business for them and whether that was useful. Because I never really got out on Instagram apart from stealing other people's ideas.
I've just had 300,000 views on one of my clips of someone playing a guitar, and it's just under 300,000, I think. And just as it hit 300,000 was the first time anyone asked me, where can I buy that from? And bear in mind that the clip has it tagged in it. I don't think many people clicked on the to buy it thing anyway. No. But coincidentally, I did sell that guitar last week because someone saw a totally different short with it in. So whether Instagram or YouTube was pushing the other short because it somehow knew they were connected, I don't know. But I feel like it's really hard to know if something gets that many views, if it's really going to relate to growing your business, or if it's just a thing that is doing the rounds because it's interesting, like the back guitar. So loads of people who aren't interested in guitars are thinking, that's cool, I'm watching it.
Yeah. I think Instagram is a community thing for me. It's because the only people I really interact with is other guitar builders on there. So it's never really been a business thing for me, really. And I realised that quite early on. It doesn't really amount to much unless you're massively popular. And also Instagram viewers, I built that viewing. Ironically, I entered the first Great Guitar Build-Off that I know Arran won. So I've always been a bit jealous about that. So yeah, give me one of them from Plymouth. And I love that guitar. It was brilliant. But the reason I never finished my build on that because I could not be bothered to film it. I hated the whole filming process, ironically. So I thought I'll build an Instagram following. So I've got a couple of thousand followers on Instagram. Not a lot, really. It's tiny, small fry. But thinking that when I do eventually get onto YouTube, I'll bring them with me. and I couldn't have been more wrong, because not many people migrate from platform to platform. The two audiences are very, very different, if you know what I mean.
For me, I find Instagram really useful.
Yeah.
So because I ask a lot of my international customers, I ask them how they find out about me, and Instagram is pretty much the one.
Really?
Yeah. So I post every day. I post something every day now on Instagram, whereas I use Facebook for more the domestic audience, and then Instagram works. I haven't got much of a YouTube presence because I can't be bothered to make lots of videos, but so when I ask people, it's Instagram's always mentioned.
So have you got an actual Instagram shop where people can click on and go direct and purchase, or?
No. Yes, but it's never ever. No one's ever bought on that.
Really?
Yeah, no. It's what I because I look at all the stats and stuff on my website and everything, and it takes people 3 months to buy a pickup.
Right.
And they find me on lots of different places on the way. So, and they visit the website many times before they'll actually buy something. So I try and set the website up kind of like your attitude with YouTube, where it has to be entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, there has to be, if you're going to come back more than once, well, you maybe you see a different video this time, you know, or different whatever. So,
you know, Glyn, I think
and it's playing the long game.
Mm.
I think the reason that you find Instagram so useful is for the exact same reason that, you know, you find Instagram is not so useful, because it's guitar builders and guitar modifiers and people who are pulling apart their guitar and looking for ways to change it. That's, you know, because I find that's who I interact with the most on my Instagram as well, is other guitar builders. And I'm going to guess they're probably the people that are buying your pickups predominantly.
No, they're players rather than builders.
Really?
It's nearly all, yeah. No, it's also end user kind of thing. Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean there are there are some makers, but no, it's nearly always punters.
I would say if you're listening to this or watching this and you enjoy this sort of chat, do check out Glyn's YouTube though, because you do the Meet Your Maker interviews with local to you, which is a big area, builders and makers, and it's really interesting.
Well, there's some great Kiwi people, you know, like Ben Fulton from Red Witch Pedals, and there's a guy who I've been talking to maybe to maybe get we'll have a chat with. Maybe I've asked him anyways. Is Russ Madsen, who makes resonators.
Oh, nice.
But he makes metal bodied resonators, and he spins the cones as well. It is really cool, you know, just the whole process. So yeah. Anyway, I'll ask him. I have asked him.
Well, look, thanks again, Paul, for joining us today. It's been great.
Can I mention one thing very quickly before we go?
Yeah.
Just something that's always blows me away on the channel is everyone that's donated. You're pretty amazing for that, for the leukemia care stuff. I know we're all doing it essentially for the same cause, so you're brilliant. I've had one particular viewer, a guy called Don Stilton, and I've mentioned him in a couple of videos. He goes by the name of Doc. He lives he's done a couple of courses at Texas Toast. I just need to mention him. He makes his own pickups, Glyn. And he donated the P90s for the Chris Buck Rev Star, sent them from Canada over to me to use free of charge, which I was blown away with. He also then donated $500 for the leukemia care, right? So the guy's legendary status. And he's also donated the full custom wound pick guard for the Gilmore Strat.
Oh, amazing.
So the guy is just absolutely outdone himself. He's one of the most generous men I've ever met. So if he does watch this, I haven't met him, one of the most generous guys I've ever interacted with. I'd love to meet him one day. So if you are watching this, mate, thank you very much from everyone, because like you say, we're all doing it it's all stemmed from the Yergs Cup too. And so, yeah, everyone that's donated, I'm blown away. It's been really amazing, very humbling. So I appreciate it.
To hear you're managing to get so much. It's brilliant. And you did the run as well recently, didn't you?
I've got the London Marathon next year.
Next year, I was next year. Yeah.
Yeah, so I currently run 30k every Sunday morning, and a couple of 5ks during the week. So it's I'm building up the mileage. I've never run so far before, so it's I'm nervous about it. But yeah.
Oh, you'll get them, mate. You're doing 30k now. I've run 4 marathons.
Really?
In the past, yeah, and it's There's a great Paula Radcliffe quote, which is that running marathons, it's 50% mental, and the rest is just in your head.
Well, I'm on to a winner there, mate, because I am fucking mental. I'll tell you that.
But yeah, no, good on you, good on you. It'll be great. London will be great.
I can't wait, because Plymouth's very hilly, if no one knows Plymouth, but have a look on Google Maps, Plymouth Hoe and all the rest of it. But it's one of the hilliest places you ever come across. So trying to find, I'm allowing myself some flatter runs because I know London is going to be so flat. But it's very difficult to find a flat run once you start getting over 30k. It's tough. It's I'm enjoying it. I do enjoy it, and it's stopping me from being fat, so I'm happy with that.
For those of you that don't know what the Yergs Cup is, there's definitely links in the descriptions for all of this. But essentially, we're going to talk about it in more detail next month, at the end of the month. I'll put up a list soon of all the planned live streams for next month. But it's a sort of challenge for guitar builders to take part in. It's like no pressure, do it at your own pace. But each year there's a slightly different theme. And it's in honor of Jürgen Zoller, who was one of the many, one of the people that was involved with the Guitar Builders Collective early on, and he basically left comments on many, many videos, and they were very interactive. It wasn't just a comment, it was a conversation you'd have with him. So someone that was kind of integral to the spirit of what Guitar Builders Collective was initially, that idea of supporting each other and interacting with each other. And it's a great reason to give you an excuse to build something, and with no pressure to finish it. So I, for example, last year's challenge, I finished part of it in time, but I'm still working on some of it. So that's how it goes. But
is there an official winner? Do they get like a certificate, or do you run it like the GBBO? Is it planned to be like that?
We're going to, but because we're doing it all off our own backs, it's like sort of just praise from one another, really. Like, we were going to send out like a hand tool or something, but everything that, like the t-shirts, that goes straight back to leukemia charity and everything. So can't really. Well, I don't have the funds to send people trophies or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, when do you find out who wins this year's or the Yergs Cup 2? When does that finish?
Well, last year we didn't have a winner. Like last year we said Yergs was going to be the winner. Yergs Cup 2 finishes on the 23rd of April, I think. The 23rd or 24th. And then the next one starts day straight after.
Maybe this is something we can talk about and ask people in advance of that stream at the end of next month about how we could have a winner. But I know one of the things we were all discussing in relation to the Great Guitar Build-Off was it's all about the building, not about the winning and all of that. So the idea was, and what we tried to do last year is at the end of the period when everyone's builds were finished, we started to share them via the Guitar Builders Collective Instagram with the idea that we post someone's finished build or nearly finished build, link to them, and you would go follow them, leave comments on them and support them. So it was just an idea of trying to give the community a chance to interact with each other and talk to each other and see what we've done. And the sort of prize was people would be talking to you about your build, and that was the real sort of feeling behind it.
There's room to grow with it. But...
Yeah. So
it's called a cup, but it's the reality is it's just a build along with the community spirit involved in the charity function of it. So I think some people might think lean too much into it's a competition, but it's not really. It's just people getting together and showing off their talents.
Yeah, okay, that's cool.
Maybe we can get Ray to print some little trophies. Think about 3D printed trophy.
I'm too busy trying to print my guitar out of whippersnipper line, mate. To keep in line with the challenge.
You could send everyone the file to print their own card.
There we go.
Done. There we are. Sorted.
Right. So just before we go, I will let you know some of the ones we've got coming up. So next week, and I need to check. So next week will be normal times for everywhere, but the week after that is when the Australian time zone shifts. So what I suggest is I'll put all of these up on YouTube. You'll be able to see the future streams. And when you click on them on YouTube, it says what time that is local to you. But I also put in the thumbnails what the time they are. But so next week, we've got Menno dialing in from the Ecuadorian rainforest. I'm not sure what's happening the week after that. But then on the 17th, we've got Maynard from Madsen Amplification, who's a friend of Ty from Shop the Fox. And that's the first person we have on who's going to be a specific amp builder, although I think he builds effects pedals as well. So that'll be another sort of interesting thing for us to focus on maybe. And then at the end of next month, we've got the Yergs Cup focus. And then in November, we're going to have Cade and Ray on to talk about their building experiences at Crimson and what they've been up to. I've messaged a lot of people. So I'm waiting to hear back for dates, but we've got Les from Godfrey Guitars is up for coming on. So I think I'm going to try and get him in one of those spots we've got free in October, but that'll be cool. Some of you, if you listened last week, will know Jarvis is a big fan of his builds. And he's also, I think when I first went on Instagram looking for guitars, he's one of the first Instagram channels that had guitars that sort of blew me away for being totally different to the norm. So I'm excited for that. And then I'd also just want to thank the people that have been supporting the channel by being members, because all that membership helps cover the cost of the streaming, both for the YouTube channel and for the audio that we do. So we've got Gabriella Retti, FPS, Owen Kelly, Electric Lady Guitars, Adair Guitars, BB Guitars, Simon, Mr. Glyn's Pickups, Dave Dickens, Tasmaniak Guitars. Some of those names you'll know very well from being here at the moment. So thank you all. I really appreciate that. And we've got a few other people that have just chimed in on the chat to say thank you. So who I didn't know were there. So Doug, Ben, and Ty was there. And Ty wants to come on with Les. I will message you when the date is. Bye. Fantastic. And if anyone's watching who wants to come on or knows someone who they think will want to come on, let me know. We want to invite people that the audience, us, are interested in. So don't just leave it to me. Otherwise, I'll just be inviting the ones I'm interested in who might not necessarily appeal to you. And it will really help if you could just spread the word by sharing this somewhere. Forums are brilliant. Letting a friend know who's a builder. But I'm hoping this also appeals to people that aren't into building guitars, but just interested in knowing about how guitars work. So there might be a wider audience that we don't know about. Great. Has anyone got anything they want to just plug before next time, or anything they want to share coming up?
No, not me.
No. Is that a guitar we're going to see shortly on your channel?
It's a ukulele, but yeah. Little tiny uke.
Another. What is that?
It's some sort of burl. I gave it a quick spray today, and I can see everything that I've missed as far as the burl goes. The pain in the fucking ass.
Oh, Arran, I just remembered. Did we sort a date out with your friend?
Yeah, I think we did. I can't remember if it was a date, but I know we were chatting about when Stu was going to come on. I think that was end of October-ish, possibly.
Okay, I'll just double check that, and I'll put that one up as well.
Yep.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you, everyone. Cheers, Paul. And until next time, happy strumming, everyone.
Take it easy.
The Guitar Builders Collective is a group of like-minded people from all around the world at different stages of their guitar building journey. You can join us over on our forum to seek advice or share tips on guitar building processes, materials and tools, or just to share your builds. On YouTube, we have a regular podcast of guitar building chat where you can join the live stream or watch back on past episodes. Our Instagram page shares posts of members' builds and links you direct to their accounts. And for those of you on Facebook, we've got a private group that you can join, share and chat along with. The Guitar Builders Collective is a welcome and open space for all, so do pop by and say hi. Great. Cheers. Thanks again, all.
That's all right, gents. Not a problem.
We're still streaming.
You're still going.
Oh,
I think-
still
No, it's
streaming.
It's just expected now.
Does anyone want to say something offensive before I cut it?